What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Too many virgin talking points in this space. And I got to shout out this young man. He goes by Memes for Kings, but I met him at the Game Kings 2 seminar in New York. Yeah, that was still powerful. And he had just made a couple comments and everything. And, like I always say, don't make a request from me, especially if you don't know me. Don't make a request. But if you got a good comment or something, I was like, oh, okay. And don't even try to hint at it, like, hey, it'd be good if you talk about this. I'm definitely ain't gonna talk about it. Reason why is that whole sovereignty thing, because then, because one thing I peeped, sometimes you start talking about something, somebody try to act like they got credit. And then in their little minds, they thinking they doing something or have some control. Fuck that, all right? I don't work for anybody because of that. Yeah, just coming from the gym and everything, just chilling. Boom! You never know. What movie is that from? Anyway, too many virgin talking points, because I said, when I saw it, I was like, man, he's right. Because you know what I always say, not enough experience. A lot of dudes, let me put on my glasses, shit, before the po-po pull me over or something. Be like, sir, you're not wearing your glasses. Then I had to embarrass the po-po, showing who I'm connected to. Anyway, I just make this easy on everybody. But, and then when I say that, because I look at a lot of, or peruse a lot of channels and listen to what a lot of people say, even what some people comment. And they ain't doing it from a place of experience. They're always doing it from a place of speculation. And they think they know something. I'm like, motherfucker, I've been out here in the real world. Like, I remember one dude in his 20s thinking he knows more. I'm like, what the fuck? And not even about 20-year-olds. You know how many motherfucking young people I know? I mean, my oldest son is 20. My youngest son got multiple women, is 18. I'm just saying. Motherfuckers act like new. Ain't nothing new about a penis going in a vagina. Ain't nothing new. That shit ain't changed. I haven't seen it change. But you got a bunch of people, they trying to speculate based on multiple, I don't know, they just speculating. And then they'll watch a channel and they think they knowing something. And then a lot of dudes get confused. Well, I thought it was this way. Based on what? Like, I know it's like when anybody go against, not just myself, but anybody, they always doing it from speculation. But if you say it to them, right? How do you really know this? Well, come on, give me your experience in it. They don't really know. They're thinking, They want to believe something. See, a lot of dudes want to believe something because they want to give themselves hope instead of actually doing work with the shit that works. Shit, I've been in this game a long time, man. Gets women shit since the 70s. Since I was little. Hell. I know what the fuck is up. And shit, every single woman I dealt with, regardless, relationship, one night stand, whatever, I learned from it. Or rejection. Shit, learned a lot from rejection. I've probably been rejected by more women than most dudes will even talk to at this point in their lives. It's shit. Yeah, so I learned how not to get rejected. But you got a lot of guys, they talking from a place of they don't know. They don't know. They speculating. Or they have some fantasy about how some shit is going to go. Nah. It's like I always said, like, we're going to talk about sex. It's one thing to read books on it. And then once you actually have sex, you realize all those books were bullshit. I had a buddy, he graduated law school. And he started working at a prominent firm, and they actually told him, yeah, you got all that, book knowledge. Let's show you what's happening in the real world. Because one of the problems is there's not a lot of talk about what really happens. not from somebody who's had any level of success anyway, especially in relationships. Now, plenty of people can talk about their personal rejections. Okay, you got expertise in that. But if you want to say what actually works, you know, you got to like find somebody who's this actually worked for. You know? You got to find somebody who's actually worked for. And, you know, I don't have any complaints in that area. You know, I've actually got experience dealing with in more different types of relationships with women. Sexing them. Sometimes just kissing them. Getting a good rub. Rubbing up on the butt at the go-go. Hand jobs. Everything. And then, you know, just talking with them. And one thing about that is, see, I think that's why a lot of these dudes who are virgins and just sexually inexperienced are really having trouble, because they really don't know. They don't know. It's different. It's like let me shout out somebody. Some people might remember his name, Player Supreme, and he passed away. He passed away a few years ago, but I remember he did a video. It might still be up if I can find. I can't remember what he called his channel. It might still be up, where he said you get a lot of guys on the outside trying to say what the player's world is, but they don't have any experience. You know, when you're talking with a true player or pimp, or even somebody who's generally successful with women, the conversation is always different from guys who don't have the experience. You know, guys who don't have it. And, you know, once you realize some things, you be like, well, wait a minute. They doing this, and this. That's why I even go against guys who think it's just looks. If you have enough experience with women, you realize they looking at everything. And they'll say, oh, no, it's over if you don't look a certain way. But dudes who don't look a certain way, fathering children. And, you know, it takes a lot for a woman to have somebody's child. You know, they fathering children. They still getting sex out here. You know, you got some dudes women will call medium ugly. They still getting sex out here. Like, that's another thing. You get a lot of dudes, they think it's a certain way, but if you say, well, where do you hang out at? Do you go to clubs, parties? How many friends that you actually have? How many friends? You got some dudes talking, they don't really have any friends. So how would they know? Are you in an environment where they fucking? Or they getting down like that? You in certain neighborhoods? And shoot, even that thing with the shadow world. Oh, I'm going to get into that too. Memes for Kings pointed out something for that's going to fuck with some people's heads. It's going to fuck with some people's heads. Well, at least the people who ain't familiar with the shadow world. I mean, are you going to know? See, a lot of dudes just don't have that experience. But then they're going to try to tell somebody, or they think they know. See, here's the thing with it. If they really knew, here's the thing. If they're a virgin, or even very limited experience, especially if they older with limited experience, then they can't really say everything, because, see, here's the thing. Let's use some common sense. If a man truly knows a woman's nature, right? They think, I mean, all they can say is women this and that, and, you know, they can say, well, these women rejected him. But if a man truly understood a woman's nature, he can always get sex without paying. You know, he can always get companionship. He can get a girlfriend if he wants. The only thing at issue is, does he want a particular woman? And even then, if he understands a woman's nature, he can get with somebody he likes. You know, it's just a matter of what he want to do. And let me go on a tangent real quick, because every now and then I get somebody who, like on my main video today, somebody was like having an issue talking about two things they said. They said, you know, it seemed like dating coaches don't want to focus on what the women's doing. And that's something we covered at the Game Kings thing. We said it. Shout out Miles Cunningham. He said it. Look, men take responsibility. We ain't going to blame the women, because men got control over who they want to deal with. This is our world. And then said body game. Don't you think that's making somebody feel bad? And there's some people who jump on them. They push back for me. But then I said, you know what, I don't need that energy on there. Because if you got, I told you, I don't have any patience for people with the wrong attitude. Anybody can build their body. If you don't like your body, build it to the point you're comfortable. So, but I just wanted to say that, man. It's, you know, too many dudes, instead of just doing the work of what you need to do, what men with experience knows works. You know, what you know work. You know, be quiet, do the work. Just be quiet, shut up and do the work, or stay away. You know? Just had to say that. But it's too many, and it's leading a lot of guys astray. In fact, I've had a lot of guys who I've had consultations with, and they'll just hit me up by contact, and they say, you know, Ron, well, I was listening to all this other stuff, I was messed up. I was listening to you, all of a sudden, things changing. You know, and, you know, I ain't the only one, of course. You have plenty of, you got the Game Kings crew, you know. They tell you some real stuff, but they got actual experience, you know. They got actual experience. But too many dudes, see, one of the things is a lot of dudes just want somebody to co-sign whatever their attitude is. And some people taking advantage of it. Some people taking advantage. Some women taking advantage of it. I ain't calling no names, but shoot, plenty of women taking advantage of it. Content creators. But that's not me. I'm gonna tell you something that works. And people will see my attitude is, okay, who got experience with this? Like the few times I'm going to ask a relationship question of someone else, they got to show me through their words at the minimum. I'm saying at the minimum. What they know. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to say, you know what? They got some points. Let me see what's up. If I ever have a question, once in a blue moon, I'll have one. It happens. I'm still, you know, no matter how much you know, you can always learn more. You know, it might be a rare experience I haven't, like, encountered before. There's always something. There's like a million experiences you can have with a single man could have a million. So no matter how many times he deals with a woman, because each woman is different. Ultimately, no matter how similar, she's still different. In fact, if you got any real experience, you know, even their vaginas are different. You know, attitudes, everything. But at the same time, somebody will say, if they're all different, how to get with them? You know yourself. That's it. Because then you got to know what is it about yourself that women like. But you would know that if you actually engage women. You would know that if you actually had sex. Now I know some people, they don't like when I talk about sex. In fact, I had a comment one time, human beings don't need to have sex. I didn't even feel like engaging the idiot, because it's like, well, you weren't here by immaculate conception, motherfucker. You weren't building a lab, so shit. If for nothing else, you need sex to have the human race go on. And let me go on a tangent about that. Some people need to just shut the fuck up. Sometimes some motherfuckers are just stupid, man. No, that's stupid, man. That's some stupid, idiotic shit, you know? And then motherfuckers wonder why nobody wants to be around or deal with somebody on some stupid shit, man. It's like, have some common sense, man. Have some common sense. And actually, if somebody really, like, because my thing is about solutions. You really want to get with women. First place to start is with yourself, really. And I'm going to get into that in a second. I got to pick up my clothes from the cleaners and shit. So, y'all hold on a bit. I got to pick my clothes up from the cleaners. Hey, what's up, y'all? Back. Yeah, I had to get my clothes out of the cleaners, including this suit. Yeah. Wore this joint at the Game Kings 2 seminar. If you're on IG, you can see even more pictures. But anyway, right? Anyway, let me tell you what, man. And let me just give y'all some real game on just getting women. Because, I ain't that type just like to talk about shit. Yeah, I'm going to say something about, like, these inexperienced men doing stuff, but I'm going to tell you how to gain experience. Like, because I talked to a couple of people at the Game King seminar, like, privately, we got to mingle and everything. And I told a couple, they wanted to know how to get more women. I say, are you a virgin? They's like, no. All right, whatever you did to get that one, you do the same thing. Because understand something, and this is one of the reasons why the focus, and I'm going to focus more on men developing themselves and not going in on the women. See, a lot of guys just want to focus on the women. You don't focus on the outside, you focus on you. Because if you deal with women, no matter how different they are, they all have one thing in common. That's you. All the women I've dealt with on different levels, good and bad, they all had one thing in common, me. So what was it about me that got the women who would treat me well, who receptive sexually, wanted to have sex? And then what was it about me that turned off the women? Or that, been in a relationship, what was it about me that ended something? And I know exactly what they are, I know the main thing. The main thing, yeah, there could be some different things, different nuances, but a lot of times it come down to the same shit. See, a lot of dudes, if you want to get women, first of all, if you're a virgin, well, first, fix yourself up, develop yourself enough so you can at least get to that woman. And just focus on getting one woman. Don't try to go from virgin to player to be player. It ain't gonna happen. I talked about this on my IG. I mean, not IG, my Patreon. I said, shoot, focus on getting a girl first. But then once you get a girl and you learn about yourself, then you just have to repeat it. It's simple, but it's on you. It's on you. Don't blame everybody else. You got to get the experience. Like, if you want to know a woman's nature, yeah, y'all can listen to all these videos and something, but the only way you really going to know a woman's nature, especially as it pertains to you, because women don't treat all men the same way. You got to learn. You just because they treat one man a certain way, she might not treat you a different way. Understand, a woman could be a bitch to one man and then a princess, a queen, very submissive to the next one. So you got to figure out what is it within you that they cooperate. And you can, but see, a lot of dudes, they focus too much on what the women are doing. Oh, the women should do this, or they should want me. No, they shouldn't do anything. They're going to want what they want. But what type of women? Like I talk about a tribe. All right, what type of women generally show some receptiveness to you? Like, I already know which type of woman going to show some receptiveness. I can take one look at them and say, okay, she's going to be receptive. Like, even to the extent, okay, I'm going to have to work a little bit harder with her. She going to be receptive. She going to work. I had to work a little bit harder. I shouldn't even waste time with her. And once you do that, it's like, because you know how they responded to you. You changing yourself. And you changing yourself, understanding is like, okay, if I'm having trouble, what is it that's turning these women on? And it could be a lot of little things. You might need to look them in the eye when you're talking to them. How are you standing when you're talking to them? Are you coming off as thirsty? Like, I knew this dude, he was having trouble with women, but then I noticed when he was around attractive women, he gave off a very thirsty vibe. Like, extremely thirsty vibe. I even knew this particular dude, I ended up having sex with this woman he was checking out. But he was giving off a thirsty vibe, but that's not, that didn't work. But I got with it because I was acting like whatever with her. Now I know some dudes will say like, well, okay, I'll just play it cool. Well, see, here's the thing though. You got to figure out what works for you. You got to figure out your shot. If you playing basketball, everybody can't just go to the hoop and dunk. That ain't everybody's shot. Your shot might be the three-pointer. It might be the mid-range. You might be that person that can get the offensive rebound and stuff. Everybody got a different level. So you got to figure out what works for you and then maximize it. Just maximize it. And then, of course, you got a bunch of guys say, well, women don't show any interest. Do you talk to women? Because you got some guys, they think they can just, the woman's just going to approach. Now, they'll hear me say, oh, yeah, usually always to this day, random women will say hi. But I'm also a certain height. I'm certain body build, Shoot, even my racial background. Got eyes a certain way. I walk a certain way, I got a certain style and everything, That works for me. But you try to copy it, it's not going to work. See, you got to focus. That's why you got to focus on yourself. Don't worry about it. And see, here's the thing. And I know this because I always tell the story about when I first got into body game. Before body game, I could have some dates and stuff, but I had a lot of women put me in that friend zone or nothing happened after the date. Got no parts of anything. They didn't get a good tongue kiss. Changed the body. All I did was change myself, and not for the women, but just change myself. And then the women treated me a different way. Now, I didn't change anything. I didn't ask them to change. I ain't beg them anything like that. I just changed myself. That's why it's like if you're going to deal with women, you got to deal with yourself. And shout out Mr. Lacari. He always says the game is within you. See, you change yourself. And really, you're not really changing yourself. You're maximizing yourself. You don't want to put on a mask or anything. You're just maximizing it. Slight word to trip over. You're just maximizing who you are. Because seriously, I look at a lot of dudes and they'll say, well, how come I ain't getting a woman? I ain't getting a woman. Well, I mean, how are you dressing? Are you assertive in talking? Will you go up and say hi to a woman? Do you have good bait? Present yourself good. And then in a conversation, can you have a conversation? Can you engage her in a conversation? I talked about personality today on my main video. A lot of dudes don't have anything they can talk about. They ain't talking about shit. Because I don't care what you look like, how much money you got, whatever you think your bait is, you still got to talk to them. Now, you got some of these inexperienced guys think, oh, that don't matter. How do you know? Seriously, ask yourself, how do you know? How many women have they talked to know that don't matter? Are they speaking from personal experience? Seriously, can they say they've talked with, approached, interacted with even just 100 women? Interacted directly, not online either, face to face. Or 200, 300. And if they can count the number, they haven't interacted with enough. If you can count the number, you haven't interacted enough. Because you can always figure it out. Every time I talked about that in Nice Guys and Players. Every time you approach a woman and you fail, figure out why you fail. Okay, were you too close? Did you come on too strong? I'll tell you something I did when I was younger, which is why I'm not big on approaching and I'm kind of chill. The thing I was making a mistake with, my game is better if I let it come to me. Because when I was younger, I would come on too strong. I even had some women break it down for me. Some players broke it down and said, Rom, you coming on too strong. You coming on too strong. And that could be a problem. So for me, that didn't work. But then somebody else, that could be the perfect thing. Like I said, don't try to be my clone. And even when I talk body game, because it's always somebody confusing thinking if I say body game, it's oh, you got to have this perfect body, 10% body fat or some shit like that, muscle showing. And I say in general muscles, but then it depends. Some women like slimmer muscles. Some women like, the athletic muscular type. Some women like that big man, big strong man type. And then you got some women don't give a shit. Because remember, none of this is 100%. You got some women, shit, they ain't tripping off of that. You got to figure out what worked for you. Now, when I say body game, I just say get in your best body shape, but don't try to get in somebody else's best body shape. Get in your best body shape. Because you got some women, they like a big man. And then some other women, they you got to be slim for them. I told you, I had a good friend of mine. She told me straight up, I was smaller than what I am now, but she said I was too big. And she ended up getting with a guy who was real slim. Even joked with her. We were so cool to the point. I said, all right, man, I'm going to drop 20 pounds. I'm going to pin your legs back. She said she welcome to. But I ain't bothered losing the weight and stuff. I was perfect where I was. Other women didn't have a problem. So I respected her shit. Then she got with a stick thin dude. But for that stick thin dude, that's what's best for him. And that's the bottom line. Figure out what works best for you and stick with it. You know? But you got to figure that out. You got to get out there. You got to try. You know? That's the important thing. You got it. It's about you. It's about you. It's about being who you going to be. Because trust me, one thing nobody talks about a lot, women are always going to like a certain man. And it's not always like the Chad or Tyrone. They can like you for whatever. They could just like your personality. Like legitimately. You know, y'all talking stuff, you make her laugh. Might be all she looking for. And that's not even a certain look. Because a lot of guys up here talking about the whole looks thing. But they always say it's a specific look. But then women funny like that. Like I said, I've said before, sometimes women like a little bit of ugly. Sometimes if you look too good to a woman, she questioning your sexuality. You know? It depends. Shit, some women, I've known women, they even heard and known women. They say they go for an ugly dude because they feel like he'll work harder. Some will go for him because they feel like he'll fuck them better. Now, some guys will probably go against that. Oh, that ain't the case. If you're a virgin and got limited sexual experience, how you know? You know? In fact, unless a dude, I don't even take somebody's, unless that dude gives me the impression he's been with more than 20 different women. And I can listen to him and tell. I can always tell when somebody, I can just listen to him. Like I said, I ain't going to give you the tricks to knowing it, the tales to knowing it, because a lot of dudes will try to front then. But I know a lot of dudes try to, okay. All I do is listen, because I'll just say this much. Dudes who legitimately been with a lot of women, there's a certain way they present themselves, a certain way they carry themselves. It's a certain thing they do. I've never seen it to fail. In fact, I've known some dudes who legitimately been with multiple women. I never heard anything from them. No, this dude, he was in this social circle. I've mentioned this one before. He had been with all these women. He ain't never once say to me he'd been with anybody. He ain't say one word. But I knew he had because the women were talking about it. I was hearing from the women who he'd been with. But we have a conversation. We talk about everything else. He wouldn't even talk about women. But, no, I take that back. One time he did kind of nod towards a woman, give me that, give me that look. And that was one of the ones who I knew he'd been with. Hearing that from a couple of women. Because, y'all don't even want to hear about that. Women do talk. Women do talk. But, yeah. Anyway, though. Yeah. That's something they got to stop, man. Too many dudes leading astray. Other dudes now have experience. Seriously, I'm going to just be real. I've had several dudes, just like I said earlier, several dudes, man. They said they come in these spaces and they had a little bit of game and the game got messed up. Then when they rolled out of the space and everything, stopped listening to so many people, all of a sudden the game got better. But, you gotta ask yourself. But at the end of the day, regardless of what anybody say, you want to learn women, you gotta go out there and do it. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. You gotta get the experience. In fact, one time, I remember I said one time, I said, hey, you gotta engage women. Ain't got somebody trying, well, what about me too? All that. And they talking like they authority. I can't stand fear like that, man. I can't stand fear like that. That shit's disgusting. There's always gonna be a problem. And they only, You shit. Learn how to like talk to a woman without coming off like you're harassing. How about that? Shit. Learn to read a woman. Learn to read it. The only way you can do is get out there. You gotta, like I said, start by saying hi to 3 women a day. You learn something there because all of them, you might say hi to 3 women one day, not a single one respond. Then all of a sudden you say, okay, what was she doing? What was her body language? How did she look? Hell, what she had going for? Then all of a sudden you start learning. All right, this one gonna talk. Yeah. Okay, like reading them. Like I can read them real well. And how do I do it? I can't read them just on a picture like Pimp God. I give them that. But if I see them moving, I see how they dress, how they move, everything. I read them very well. Just saw 2 women get out of a car. One would be receptive. One would be defensive. I would have to work a little bit harder with the second one. First one should be pretty receptive. But know that from interacting. Know that from interacting. And that's what you got to do. And you got to learn it yourself. You can get my perspective, but at the end of the day, you got to go out. You got to go out and figure it out. You got to learn it for yourself. You got to figure out what works for you. All right? So anyway, though, that's all I got for today. I'm going to hit y'all with something else from the young man. He said something else that's going to fuck y'all heads up. Yeah, we're going Shadow World tomorrow. He pointed out something about the Shadow World. That's some real talk. I was like, yeah, actually, you're right. So anyway, I get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.